Well, with this particular movie, I'm not feeling so passionate about giving a review. And it's not that the movie wasn't good. It was really, for me, the movie was hard to understand. And the movie is Nickel Boys. And the movie is, for me, somber and sad. Okay, this is my perspective as a Puerto Rican trans woman who's 66 years of age. So, namely, like what I was seeing as a kid on TV, that was very, very disturbing, was footage of the civil rights movement where the white folks with fire hoses and dogs attacking black people when blacks were actively fighting for their civil rights and protests. That was really important at that time period. The opposition was the white folks with all of that, police, the dogs, fire hoses with the water hosing down. I just thought that was just crazy, horrific, sad. Didn't understand it as a kid. Very hard for me because I come from a biracial family, 100% Puerto Rican, but my mother's side black Puerto Rican, my father's side white Puerto Rican. So I would see this footage and I could just imagine my aunts or my grandmother being hosed down for being black. I'm growing up and understanding that this is the United States of America and this is what we're doing here. The racism here. I got to mention as I say that when I had visited Puerto Rico in the 80s, I just felt Puerto Rico too was violated and had suffered like that. White America trying to control Puerto Rican people by assaulting them and murdering them and massacre. So I know I veered off a bit, but as a Puerto Rican, I needed to say that. I know we're not talking about Puerto Rico. We're not talking about the war against all Puerto Ricans, that book, which there should be a movie about that too. That would be amazing. Well, two things drove me to see Nickel Boys, but I'll tell you the main thing, because I didn't know what Nickel Boys was about. I thought it was about a nickel factory, some kids making nickels. I don't know what the fuck that was about. But on YouTube, I just happened to come across the interview. They had the director, RaMell Ross, a young black man in his 40s, born in Germany. And I just thought that was so intriguing that this young man was the director of Nickel Boys, and that Nickel Boys was a story about the South and black boys, black kids, and the civil rights era, the Martin Luther King, the Sidney Poitier in the movie. I mean, I remember when Martin Luther King was assassinated, I was 10 years old. And I'll say too, I remember when Robert Kennedy was assassinated, and I remember when Roberto Clemente died in the plane crash and all of that. So as a kid, focusing on race and focusing on Nickel Boys, I got the vibe when Martin Luther King was assassinated that, this is a nation that's troubled and we've got some issues here. So I grew up with that, and actually that terrified me quite a bit as a child. Quite a bit. It really drove me to eat a lot of Twinkies and eat a lot of sugar, because not only was there racism I found in my community, being called names for being Puerto Rican, and the race riots that I experienced in high school, all right, in the 70s, actual race riots. Every year there was a race riot, and the Puerto Ricans, which we were brown, we were in between. I'll jump a bit, just like in the movie Nickel Boys, where they didn't know what to do with the Mexican kid with the curly hair. They didn't know if they should keep him on the white kid's side or the black kid's side. He was with the white kid's side for a while, and then he was with the black kids. And I'm going to jump around a lot. The little Mexican boy with the curly hair, one of the guards, there's a very short clip scene where one of the guards is massaging the little Mexican boy's shoulders. And the Mexican boy's face is like, oh shit, here we go again. So, yeah. Nickel Boys, I went to see it because the producer, RaMell Ross, I wanted to see because he was talking about the point of view of this movie, how it was filmed from the perspective of the kid, Elwood, looking at his aunt or his grandmother, which I don't have the name of that actress, but she was amazing. She was so beautifully, amazingly African-American, Southern Black. I mean, with just the whole vibe of her was, I remember those ladies in my neighborhood when I lived in Brownsville in East New York. I remember that. And how many men did I date that Southern black, men with the etiquette and all. I'm an old woman. I've been around. And my family's business was in a predominantly African American neighborhood. And we catered to the African American community with the products that we sold, the meats that we sold, the vegetables that we sold, a lot of Southern cooking, and a lot of these women like that actress looking like her and sounding like her, and cakes baking fresh just like her, and different dishes that customers would bring to my father, especially because my father flirted with all of these women. Southern cooking was very familiar in my home too because of the black side of the family, even though they were 100% Puerto Rican. I had a cousin of mine, Iris, who baked the best coconut cakes, and also like a lot of Southern cooking because most of the men that she dated and she married were black African American men. So there was a nice mix in my family. On my mom's side, my father's side. So we were open to all. We were taught to love everyone. Yeah, that actress was amazing. I think she's nominated for a supporting actress role. I want to get her name because she was just lovely, loving. She played it Anuhane Ellis-Taylor. I know I got that first name all messed up. Yeah, I just thought the movie was the movie. Honestly, I had a hard time sitting through the movie, not because of the violence or they didn't show much. I thought it would be worse. What I was uncomfortable with, a lot of things weren't clear for me. It was not clear, and I'm still not clear. Getting ready to do this video, because I wanted to speak on the movie, though I knew that it was all jumbled in my head and I couldn't make sense of the movie like I couldn't make sense of the other movies that I've reviewed that I've only seen one time. And I don't think it was that I couldn't make sense of it because of the point of view and the filming, which I thought was very, very, very unique. And I think the movie itself was boxed. It wasn't widescreen. If I could be mistaken. And the director, Dee Garner, who she did 12 Years a Slave in Moonlight. I was, wow, wow, wow. And she was involved in this movie too, which was amazing, amazing. What I was disappointed about is that I felt that there was some sort of homosexual, some sort of connections with some of the characters in this movie, in the book. And I felt in the movie, nothing was really given clear to me. Not that I'm getting off on homosexual scenes as a queer woman, but I just felt like it's the story really told here. I got the vibe that when Turner and Elwood went to that woman's house to paint and the pool, and I got a vibe that maybe the woman with the donation of the books and all of that there was maybe some sort of sexuality, there was some sort of exchange. Was she using the boys sexually? I felt the scene with the Mexican boy and the guard was that the guards were having sex with the boys. I felt too when the main guard went in with the chunky boxer to tell him about what round he was supposed to win, the way he got really close with his face. I just felt like, yeah, they were being abused. There were so many things hanging. And then when Turner got to the grandma's house to let the grandma know that Elwood had gotten shot, I was like, but did he get shot? Because the scene is Elwood as an adult, because the business card had Elwood's name on it. So I'm like, wait a minute, but Elwood is alive? But Elwood looked like he got shot. And it's only through doing a little bit of research after I saw the movies to realize that Turner took Elwood's name. He took on his name. So I was like, wait a minute, but I thought Elwood got shot because Turner got and told the grandma, but on the business cards. So that was confusing. That was a big, big confusion for me. And I guess the movie didn't want me to be understanding clearly what the hell is going on here. Yeah, the bar scene was interesting because you never got to see Elwood's face. It was just his braids and him talking like that. I get that. That was interesting. There was a lot of interesting shots. This was very, I want to say avant-garde. And the little girl on the bus rolling up from down there, and then you see the shot, her rolling back. I thought that was cute. I was like, but that little girl is so cute. That dress is so cute. Didn't they have dirt back in those days on those buses? How's she staying clean like that? How come her mother's not yelling at her, say, girl, stop that. You're gonna dirty that cute dress. I guess there was no dirt back then. Racism like hell. But shit, that racism is here today. It's still here. It's still here. It's still here. In the audience, when I went to see the movie, there were a lot of young white kids that had to show their ID to get in. Yeah, no, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Yeah, yeah. They had to show their ID to get in. Hey, what is this? And I think maybe this might be in the New York City school system a movie that teachers, or maybe these were film students from a college that still weren't 21. I don't know. But this is a movie that I think a lot of kids should see today. I really advise that a lot of white kids, black kids, everybody sees this movie. Because what we see is still up. It's still happening. It's really good to see. This is historical, but unfortunately now it's all kind of coming back in some ways, in my opinion. And I think it's a good way to understand where this nation, where we came from, all of us, where this nation, because we all are a part of this nation, where we came from and where we are now, with a lot of people's rights being taken quickly within a month. This is February 2025. I believe in a lot of ways this is a very important movie to see. I'm proud of this producer, I should say, RaMell Ross. The director, Dee Garner. Wow, she did a lot of good movies. Really incredible. She's a white woman, honey. I think she's also Moonlight, Beale Street Could Talk. She worked on Selma, I believe. Whoa, good historical movies. I saw Moonlight. I thought Moonlight was adorable. Oh, I should see that movie again and give a review on Moonlight. That was fierce. See, in the Turner character with Elwood, they were so close. And I don't know, the scene where Turner first sees Elwood, I'm sorry. I know that look. I know that look. I know that look. How Turner was trying to school Elwood. Elwood was so proper, keeping all the notes of all the things he was doing. Turner's like, yo, that book ain't gonna do shit for you and those students protesting. You gotta do the real world. That's all bull. You think that notebook is gonna help your ass? They ended up killing him, killing Elwood. And I think they killed the heavyset boxer for getting the rounds wrong. You saw he was like, I thought it was the second round or the third round. And he was terrified. I think they took him out. I think they took him out. I think they killed him. They murdered him. Oh my God, those days. They're so real. They're so real. You know, the kid was just going to that new school he was going to go to, and he hitches a ride. He gets into the wrong car with the wrong person and is so screwed. The lawyer screwed them over. The mom was like, the aunt felt so terrible that she couldn't help that the lawyer jerked them around. Like, can you imagine? That was very sad. And why Turner didn't give the letter to Elwood the first time around, and how the aunt was like touch deprived. I'm sure she missed, hugging her I'm gonna say son, Elwood. She's like, can I give you a hug? They're not feeding y'all. They need to be feeding y'all better, because I'm sure you can give me a better hug than that. I'm like, oh. Yeah, that scene at the table with the cake and the wiping the fork. I would have licked that icing. What the fuck? I was waiting for her to go. And she put it on the cloth. I was like, girl, shit. Come on now. Is that butterscotch icing? What the fuck is that? I want it. And you see the texture of the cake? That's real cake. That's real cake. That's real cake. That's that Jiffy mix, that real good stuff. The real, not even Jiffy. Jiffy is a box mix. But back in the day, I remember my aunt used to bake cakes from scratch, and it had that texture. There are no box mixes. It reminded me of those days, like in the 60s, growing up. And we lived in an predominantly African American community, Brownsville, Brooklyn, East New York. And then we had a business in Wyandanch, New York, predominantly African American community. And so I was DJing in that community, and all of my friends were Black, and I mean, I didn't have many Latin friends. There weren't many Latin kids in the neighborhood where I grew up. And the white kids were horrible. Well, for a while, calling me names, nigger lover and spick, because I bonded with the Black kids, because the white kids, they were friendly, but some of them, they were, that was the 70s, 72, 73, 74, 77. In high school, where the race riots from 74 to 77. Every year was the race riots. Chains, razor blades, crazy stuff. So, yeah, I'm going to wrap this up. I was dying for that movie to end. I was. And not because of the projected violence I maybe was going to see on the screen. The movie was too fragmented for me. I think the movie was trying to not really get into the trauma, the racism, the horror. I think it just skimmed over everything, and so I wasn't, I didn't. Was there an deeper emotional connection between Turner and Elwood? Was there a real bond? I mean, friendships are real bonds, but with this was, because that look that Turner gave Elwood, like I said, and I just like, well, who's bonding with who and what's going on here? Definitely we knew that the guys were being violently, beat up and tortured and raped. What's going on? I want to know. And it took only, reading up on the movie afterwards to understand why Elwood's name was on the card and why Elwood existed. That was Turner. Because Turner survived. So I want to give lots of props to the writer of this book, because goodness, this is the second Pulitzer Prize that this writer garnished. I'm like, are you kidding me? You know how hard that is? Colson Whitehead? Like, oh my God, I love to write. I got a few stories I need to get out of my system when they are written, and I need to formulate it that it could be something I can let people read. That is quite an accomplishment. 2 Pulitzer Prizes. And then they say in the book, there is more clarity of what's going on with relationships and what's going on in the actual story. And that saddens me, like they did it in Conclave, where at the end they were talking about a hysterectomy kind of thing, where in the book they're more clear that the priest has a vagina. It's straight up. And so I wish they would be more straight up about these controversial themes in books, that when it comes to the movie, they either water it down or eliminate it altogether. I have a problem with that. There's bigger problems that's out there. I'm just glad I got my passport changed a while ago and didn't wait to do it now, because I'll be in trouble. Right? Look at his face. Look at that. M is not going to work on my passport. So anyway. Okay, y'all. That's all I got to say. If this makes any kind of sense. I would advise people to see the movie. I would advise folks to see Nickel Boys. I'm glad it's being nominated for, I believe, Best Picture and some other stuff. I hope it wins some awards. I don't know. But this was a hard movie to sit through. I couldn't sit through. I couldn't wait for this movie to be done. And it made sense way after. I had to give it a couple of days to say, oh. All right, y'all. So thanks for watching. Keep watching movies. Keep supporting this channel. Keep supporting Trans Mama, doing the best she can to talk about these movies. I want to really thank everybody who did this movie, all the actors, the Elwood actors, and especially the grandma and the director and producer of this movie, and especially the person who wrote the book for Nickel Boys. All right, y'all. Bye. Trans Mama loves you. Cuídate mucho. Mwah, mwah, mwah.